All right, guys, you've got your pencils, you've got your paper. We're ready for the final part of day one's word study, and that is going to be word dictation. Today for word dictation, we're going to work on 5 different words. We are going to learn how to use our rule for the ow sound when spelling words that have the ow sound. You're going to need your paper and your pencil. We'll work on these 5 together today. All right, here we go. Word 1. The first word I want us to work on is the word hour, like our dog is brown. First, I want you to take your hand, fist up. Let's throw out those sounds. Our dog is brown. Our has 2 sounds. Our. Let's listen for where we hear the ow sound. Our. Where do you hear the ow sound? That's right, you hear it over here at the beginning. So, if we know 2 ways to make the ow sound, OU or OW, which one are we going to use? Well, we've got to know our rules so that we spell it correctly. Let's look back at our rules. We know that OU spells ow at the beginning or middle of a syllable or 1-syllable word. OW spells ow in the last position of a syllable. So our word our, ow, comes at the beginning of the word. So we're going to spell it with OU because our rule tells us that OU says ow at the beginning of a word. So our, OU, our, R. The word hour is spelled O-U-R. Make sure you have that on your paper. All right, ready for your second word? The second word we're going to work on today is the word cow. Cow. Ready? Let's sound it out. Fist up. Throw out those sounds. K-ow. Cow. Ow. Let's listen for the ow sound. Ow. Where do we hear ow? That's right, we hear it at the end. How are we going to spell it? If we know 2 different ways to make the ow sound, OU or OW, we've got to know our rules so that we use it correctly. OU says ow at the beginning or the middle. OW says ow in the final position or the last position of a syllable. OU says ow in the beginning or middle. OW says ow at the end. So in our word cow, we hear ow at the end of the syllable or the end of the word. Because we know our rules, we know to spell ow with O-W. Let's finish our word. Ow. You know what? Think back to sound dictation. In sound dictation, we said there's 3 different ways to make the k sound. So how do I know how to spell k in the word cow? Easy. We've been practicing this all year long. I'm going to use that beginning C or K rule. I know that C takes A, E, I, O, and I just said that so wrong. Let me try that again, guys. My beginning C or K rule tells me that C takes A, O, U, and the consonants. K takes the rest. Because that next letter is an O, I know I'm going to make the K with a C. Cow is spelled C-O-W. Check your paper. Make sure you spelled it correctly. Here is our third word. Our third word for today is the word power. Say that with me. Power. Let's clap that word out. Power. Power actually has 2 syllables. I'm going to go ahead and divide up that word on my board. And let's take the first syllable that we hear in power. Power. syllable one is pow. P, ow. There are two sounds in that first syllable. P, ow. Let's listen for where we hear the ow sound in that syllable. P, ow. Where do we hear the ow sound in that syllable? Yes, we do. We hear it at the end of the syllable. Since we know two different ways to spell the ow sound, how do we know which spelling to use here? That's right, easy peasy. We know our rule now. OU says ow in the middle. OW says ow at the end. OU says ow in the middle, and the few words at the beginning. OW says ow at the end. So how are we going to spell ow here? Right, we're going to spell it O-W because it's at the end of a syllable. P, ow. P says P. Let's move on to the second syllable. That's just one sound in that syllable, and that sound is spelled E-R. Power is spelled P-O-W-E-R. Power. Check your spelling, make sure it matches my spelling. Great, let's move on. All right, our next word for word dictation is the word count. Say it with me, count. Let's sound that out. Ready? Fist up. We're going to throw out those sounds. Count. How many sounds? 4. Let me dash that out. Count. I hear the ow sound in that word. Let's figure out where we hear the ow sound so that we know how to spell it. Count. Where do we hear the ow sound? Right, it's the second sound. We hear it right here. I know where the ow sound is. Now I got to figure out how to spell it. I've got the ow sound over here in the middle. Let me think about my rule. OU says ow in the middle. OW says ow at the end. Easy. I know how to spell it now. OU says ow in the middle. So for count, because ow comes in the middle, I'm going to spell it OU. Great. Now let's go back to the beginning and spell our word. First sound in count, k. Here I am again with that k at the beginning. But this is easy peasy because I know my rule for the beginning C or K. K. C takes A, O, U, and the consonants. Since O is that next letter, I know I'm going to spell that k sound with a C. Good. K, ow, N says N. K, ow, N. Last sound, T. Good. Count is spelled C-O-U-N-T. Check your spelling on your paper with the spelling on my board. Make sure especially that you have spelled the ow correctly. OU says ow in the middle. If you made a mistake, hey, no big deal. Draw a line through it, write it correctly. It's okay to make mistakes, but it's important that we fix those mistakes because that's where we learn, when we're correcting our mistakes, and it leads us to that perfect practice. All right, we're going to do our last word of the day. Our last word is the word shout. Let's get your fist ready and throw out those sounds. Sh, out. I hear 3 sounds in shout. Sh, out. First thing I want us to do is listen for where we hear that ow sound. Sh, out. Where do we hear the ow sound? Right. We hear the ow sound here in the middle. We've got 2 ways to spell ow, O-U or O-W. What are we gonna do? You're going to think about your rule. O-U says ow in the middle. O-W says ow at the end. In the word shout, we have ow in the middle. So our rule tells us O-U says ow in the middle. We'll spell ow with O-U. Let's go back to the beginning of that word. Our first sound in shout is the sh sound. Sh, S-H, Work together to make that sh sound. Sh, out. T, t is the last sound we hear, and we make that with T. Shout is spelled S-H-O-U-T. Check your spelling on your paper with my spelling on the board. Make any changes if you need to make them. All right, guys, that is the end of day 1. We have learned a new sound and 2 different ways to spell that sound. Our sound is ow. We have learned that OU says ow at the beginning or the middle of a syllable or one-syllable word. We've also learned that the vowel team OW says ow at the end of a syllable. There's a few words that start with ow at the beginning, but mostly we use ow in the middle. So the 2 rules we really want to practice in our heads are OU says ow in the middle, OU says ow in the middle, and the other is OW says ow at the end. OW says ow at the end. I'm going to see you back for day 2 of word study, and we'll work on this rule a little bit more. Great job, guys.